how to manage your business numbers, and the tool I'm going to focus on today is Xero accounting software. Look, even though I'm working in Xero today, a lot of the things I will cover, especially around the understanding your numbers, can be used in any accounting package, so no one's going to be left out. And the idea around this, I'm not going to be going through a whole lot of PowerPoint slides. It's going to be very informal. I'm going to be sitting in a Xero demo file, so I'll have Xero open the whole time. I'll be showing things in Xero. This is the main part of the screen, so when you log into Xero, this is the main part you get to. So the things I'm going to show you today, I'm not going to show you the super basic things like how to process a transaction. It's more about going into the lesser known features that you might not necessarily know about. So the main things about managing your business finances are, I consider it three main things. Managing your source documents, such as those pesky bits of receipts and invoices. The second step is managing the actual bookkeeping itself, and that's actually processing the transactions into an accounting system and essentially assembling the data to create meaningful information. And then the last bit, which is the most fun, is once all the data is perfect, then that can give you really meaningful results about your business to understand exactly how your business is performing. And a lot of people I find tend to stop at the second step. They think, great, I've done my bookkeeping, I've lodged my BAS, got my tax return done, everyone's happy, but they don't realise all that work, you can actually get some good reward out of it by learning really good insights about your business. So I'll be covering, some of the reports you can get out of Xero as well. So the first section I'm going to focus on is actually, the record keeping part of bookkeeping and ways in Xero that can help that a bit more efficient. So the first thing I'm going to show you is creating bank rules. So essentially, what that is, if you get a transaction that comes up all the time, you can actually create a rule that tells Xero, for example, one I'll choose down here is Cooper Street Bakery. So we can actually, instead of manually processing this transaction all the time, we can actually set up a bank rule that tells Xero every time Cooper Street Bakery comes through, we're going to code this to, say, office expenses. We'll say it's a staff morning tea. So the way we do that is we go options, create bank rule. So you go any text field contains. So we're telling Xero any text field contains a Cooper Street Bakery. We're going to process it a certain way. So the contact Cooper Street Bakery, and we'll set up a description, the account, the GST. I like to say reference will be set from the reference, so you get whatever's come through the bank statement will come through. Give the rule a title, no right or wrong answer here, and we'll just call it Cooper Street Bakery, and we're going to run this rule on, you can choose all bank accounts, but we're going to run it on e-business bank account, and we'll hit save. And my internet seems to be a little bit slow here, so what you'll see now, if we go back down to Cooper Street Bakery, instead of having a blank screen, which we can see after NAB or this transaction, it's actually saying, do you want to apply this rule? And if we say yes, we just hit OK, and that processes the transaction. And you see we've got another one here for Cooper Street Bakery, so we'll just click on OK. And that's processed. So that saves you a little bit of time, especially if you're going to Cooper Street Bakery every day. Okay, so the next thing I'll show you quickly is a feature called cash coding. So we're still on the screen where we're reconciling bank accounts. You see this tab here called cash coding. So if we click on that, so what that does, so you see it's got, so I always get show lines for suggested matches. I always tick this. So you see how you've got 26 transactions to reconcile. So here, it's also displaying 26 transactions. So essentially, it's just being presented in another way. Where the magic happens here, it's a bit like an Excel spreadsheet in some ways. So we can actually, if I was to click on payee, this will put it into payee order. So you can see how it's put into payee order. We can put it into amount order. And what we can do here is this actually allows us to process transactions in bulk. So say, for example, you're behind on your bookkeeping, you're suddenly up to 400 transactions to process. Look, we're all human, it happens. So instead of beating yourself up about it and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be here for days, a little tool like cash coding can actually save you quite a lot of time. For an example, so you see here it's got central sitting parking, there's 5 transactions for that. So if I put a tick next to each one, so I'm going to process this. It's going to go to central city parking, a reference, you can just go parking. And you see how that all populates? So that's all populated. So we can just say here parking in the city for meeting. And we'll put that to, if there's a code for parking, we'll put that to travel. And the GST, you see that's all populated, GST on expenses. And there's also an option, which I'll go through this a little bit later, to select a region. Like, so for this particular business, by the way, this is a fake business. I'm not using one of my clients' businesses. So there's nothing confidential here. It's just a basic dummy demo file with zeros put together. So this particular business has 4 areas, 4 different areas. So you can select whether it's north, south, east and west. And then you can run a P&L separately by each region, but I'll go through this in a bit more detail later on, but that's just, you know, it's worth it to get this extra information just to do that one extra step at the processing stage. So you can see that's all populated. See this green button that says Save and Reconcile selected. So if you just click on that, and process all those transactions. So this is really handy if you've got, you know, 100 transactions for central city parking. You know, you just save yourself hours for processing it rather than having to do each one individually. You see those transactions are now gone and they've now been done. So if we're now down to 19 items to reconcile. Another thing, a handy feature I'll show you quickly, this feature is only available to advisors such as accountants and bookkeepers, so you might not be able to see it in your Xero, but if you wanted to make use of this feature, you can go into settings and change your access to advisor level rather than standard level. So the way to get to this, you go into accounting, it's called Find and Recode. So what can sometimes happen, they're all human. You can quite easily make a mistake with your bookkeeping. For example, you might have put a whole lot of cost of goods sold transactions into advertising by mistake. And if you've done it 20, 30 times, you don't want to be going into each individual transaction and changing it 20 or 30 times. You know, because that would become very tedious and it takes a lot of time. So this way, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on Find and Recode. I'm going to click on Add a Condition. I'm going to select, and there's different things you can search by. You can search by date range, you can search by tax rate. So if you mess up, you code a whole lot of transactions with GST and they shouldn't be GST, and you can fix it through here as well. So we're going to select account today, and the account we're going to select is advertising. And you can add as many, you know, criteria as you like, but we'll just do the one today just to keep it simple. So this every single transaction for advertising. So for this one, for Smart Agency, we've realised, oh, we shouldn't have put that, all these shouldn't go to advertising, we think they should go to cost of goods sold because it relates to directly making a product and not advertising for your own business. So the way we fix all these, so if you tick a box next to here, you go Recode, we always go Recode source transactions. And we just want to change the account code. So we're going to change this to cost of goods sold. And you can also change the tax rate. And you see where it's got region here. So if you've got, you know, this can also apply if you've accidentally put something to the wrong region. So you can change it in here as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on Renew. And that has just changed the coding of all those 3 transactions. So imagine how handy this is if there was 100 of those transactions that you messed up. So literally in less than a minute, you've fixed all those errors, where otherwise it might have taken you a couple of hours going through each transaction one by one.